Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video I want to cover the newest community post from Battlefield Studios. On June 18th they released a new community post that let us know that come June 30th we're not only going to be receiving the last phase of Season 3's content, but alongside that Battlefield Studios will also be changing some crucial areas of the core gameplay mechanics. They will be improving weapon tuning, netcode invisibility, and vehicle balance. From what I gathered from this post, the changes will be more in-depth and impactful than the little tweaks we've gotten so far. And impactful changes are what the game really needs right now. In all honesty, I haven't been on the game as often due to the gameplay issues and overall lack of depth and community. I find myself only coming back to do the weekly challenges, which can typically be completed in just a couple of hours. Hopefully this update is going to finally lay the solid foundation we've been lacking in the areas mentioned in this post, and we can get one step closer to the finished product. So let's get into it. Gunplay is up first, and this section states, we're making a broader set of gunplay improvements with the next content update focused on making infantry combat feel more consistent, readable, and rewarding to master. These updates enhance several key areas of gunplay, including recoil behavior, dispersion, weapon handling, limb modifier tuning, bullet velocity, drag, and more. The goal is to further reward good aim, recoil control, shooting technique, and weapon knowledge. We're also continuing work on related combat improvements, including soldier visibility, and netcode updates that support more consistent moment-to-moment combat readability. There's a lot to cover here, so we'll be sharing a dedicated deep dive into all the changes in a later post. That piece will walk through the design intent behind these changes, what we're adjusting, and how we expect them to shape combat moving forward. Everything just mentioned in this section is desperately needed. When they say more consistent, readable, and rewarding to master, that in a nutshell is everything wrong with the gunplay at the moment. Consistency, readability, and depth of knowledge to master. Every single gun, even guns in the same weapon category, have horribly different feelings in comparison to one another, which becomes a headache to switch between guns and have to remember which ones have more random recoil or spread. Speaking of random recoil has been used as a development crutch in the game to make it difficult to use good guns. It essentially takes a sight and throws it all over the place so you visually see when your gun is becoming randomly inaccurate. Random recoil is a ridiculous means to an end, the end being punishment for using these good guns, which they added into their game. It's just more visual noise which is meant to confuse and hinder their players. The good news is, it sounds like this will be toned down, and other gunplay mechanics as they stated, recoil dispersion, weapon handling, limb modifier tuning, bullet velocity, and drag, will help add the depth needed to make the guns more rewarding to use and master. It sucks that this is all being addressed 9 months later, but here's hoping that this update solidifies the gunplay so they can add new guns to a balanced gun pool and not a broken one. It's a little concerning to me when they say how they expect these changes to shape combat. Wouldn't you think a developer working on a AAA game would know how these changes are going to affect their game? It's almost like they don't play their own game. Hopefully that's not the case and we finally get some solid gunplay in the game rather than this Warzone-ified gunplay we've been dealing with for 9 months. They briefly mentioned soldier visibility and netcode improvements. I personally haven't had too many noticeable issues with the netcode since the last netcode update, but I'm sure this patch will smooth the netcode over even more to provide more stable connections between console and PC users. I'm sure some people experience user-to-user connection issues and cry netcode. Some people quite frankly just don't know what they're talking about, and it may just be a skill issue or they have shitternet. The soldier visibility change that came with Phase 2 has been fantastic. I've been playing the game for longer because of it, but maybe it's been a little too great. I genuinely think that maybe toning it down ever so slightly and changing the highlights to look a bit more believable, or they could be doubling down and everyone will be a glowing angel of light. We'll just have to see about that one come the 30th. Next we have the vehicle update, which states, we're making a set of vehicle balance updates aimed at improving combat flow across armor, air, anti-air, and infantry counterplay. Thermal smoke will be less effective at mitigating incoming damage and will no longer remove C4 when activated. RPG damage is also receiving a slight increase against tanks and helicopters, giving infantry a bit more pressure against vehicle targets. Additional vehicle tuning includes updates to IFV weapons, attack helicopter rockets, mobile anti-air ammo, and more. Full details for all vehicle balance changes will be shared in the upcoming update notes. Automated anti-air behavior is also being updated. The AA station was giving land vehicles too much protection near spawn, which could encourage frustrating spawn camping. To combat this, it is being updated to shoot down fewer projectile types and will no longer retaliate for damage dealt to land vehicles. Retaliation behavior will also time out after 20 seconds instead of continuing indefinitely. This section here is kind of vague, but from what it sounds like from the sentences about thermal smoke no longer destroying C4, RPGs dealing more damage against tanks and helicopters, and the automated AA not helping out ground vehicles as much, I honestly think they're going to be nerfing the vehicles across the board with this update to help with the more infantry-centered gameplay of BF6. The biggest problem with the vehicles in BF6 is that if no one on your team wants to drive the tank, the mobile AA, the IFVs, or even lay down fire with the 50 cals on the Jeeps, then you are definitely going to lose that game. I see it happen so much that I just end up driving the tank 5 games in a row or hopping in the AA that's sitting in spawn. It's a boring job sometimes, but someone has to do it. The fact of the matter is that some players are just too incompetent for a game like Battlefield. They just want to run around, point and shoot their guns while not helping out vehicles whatsoever, and in the end your team ends up being cannon fodder the whole game. It's very tricky to balance vehicle and infantry play, I'm sure, but I hope they don't nerf or quote-unquote balance the vehicles too much just to help out players who will never run engineer anyway, even if they're getting uncapped trapped all game. That's another issue itself, the fact that you can have an entire team all running the same class. No one has any incentive to run any different class since all the weapons can be accessed by all the classes. Bring back closed weapons and assault medics, DICE. I apologize for the little tangent about our beloved casual players and the dead closed weapons debate. Casual players in any game is good, but it's the actual fans of the game that make a real community out of it. Anyway, here's hoping the vehicle changes are good. So those core changes being addressed were, in my opinion, the most substantial ones mentioned. Here are some other good notes that caught my attention in this post. We will be getting a new game mode, Tactical Obliteration. I actually really enjoyed the Big Obliteration mode. It did give that classic sandboxy feeling when you see everyone running around, creating their own choke points with vehicles and peeling off with the bomb if they get a chance to snatch it. Very fun game mode. I hope the big mode stays or returns in the near future. Bellum 1988's Operation Metro is being added to Portal again, this time with baked lighting to enhance the experience. I had a great time when it first came out. The only issue was the Roblox looking textures and lighting limiting the immersion on the map. With the new lighting, I am definitely looking forward to running some Metro 24/7. If only BF Studios would stop being so lazy and actually just remake the map. And that was about all I had for the good ending tidbits of this post. Now here are some points of contention I had reading through the end of it. They are now adding casual RedSec for those quote-unquote chill game nights. This mode will have bots in it and will help little free-to-play Timmy get more #1 victory royales. Hooray! Next up, they're adding Team Deathmatch and Squad Deathmatch to Verified Portal. When I read this, I was kind of shocked that these core modes were not in Portal already, but not really surprising since the whole theme of this game has been to release core features like their brand new content. Lastly, on a not so great side of this post, this last little snippet here in the more to come section, which reads, Battlefield is at its best when we're building it together with you. Your feedback helps us understand where the experience is landing well, where we need to take another look, and where future improvements can make the biggest difference. I mean, just wow. Tell us you don't know what you're doing without telling us you don't know what you're doing. It's not looking great for this franchise when the player base literally has to scream in EA and DICE's ear and stop playing the game just to get them to add the basics of any good Battlefield game into the new one. Make it make sense, DICE. Please, for the love of everything in this world, do not make this player base ask twice again, because as we can all see, this franchise doesn't have a leg to stand on without us. Guys, please always remember that Plan A was a COD clone AI slop cash grab, and Plan B is us, the real fans. And on that note, everyone, that's all I got in this chamber. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and have a good one.